So in this update, we can actually start taking a look at some of the gear in upcoming raids. We have Crucible of Storms with some of the bosses, no loot available, but Battle of Desert Lord does have a lot of information, and hey, we have loot. We have gear and brand new Azerite bonuses that have specific item levels for them, and what we can do is we can figure out what traits do they have on them by checking them out right here. Blizzard have added, as you can see, a lot more traits available. It's pretty crazy looking at first. So you have to really mind the extra layer of options. I'm surprised just how much this is taken up of the screen. So what does this mean for the game? So first of all, we still have the middle row for the Azerite empowerment. You have the utility row, and it's like the extra damage bonuses, buffs, haste, agility, whatever. Then you still have your original ring with one spec choice and one middle ground trait. And then you have all these randomized, like Assassination, Outlaw, Subtlety, Subtlety, Assassination, or Outlaw, Assassination. So now you can really kind of pick and choose. So if you're an Outlaw Rogue main, you like Snake Eyes, for example, even though they kind of nerfed this one, you could still have a Dead Shot together with it, or Ace Up Your Sleeve together with Treacherous Covenant. If you're an Assassination Rogue main and you like Shrouded Suffocation, that doesn't mean you have to skip out on Nothing Personal. If you're Subtlety, you can have yourself Blatant Shadows and Inevitability as those two work together. So my question, I guess, is when taking a look at this gear, what I'm guessing here is you won't be able to double stack certain traits. For example, let's say I have Deadshot in the outer ring right here as an availability, and it looks like Ace Up Your Sleeve and Deadshot are always present. Let me see if that's the same for every... Oh no, it's different. So now it's Deadshot and Snake Eyes. So I think it all depends on what are your kind of like second row rings, if that makes any sense. So your second row rings are going to have certain traits. So you can't like have Deadshot here and Deadshot here, or you can't have like Replicated Shadows and Replicating Shadows. So it's not like you can, you know, triple stack or double stack certain traits. Let me just make sure. Yeah, it does have all that variety. So what technically you can do, as we're taking a look through these pieces, is you can take this chest piece, for example, right? And you can roll Storm of Steel and Ace Up Your Sleeve for Outlaw. Or let's go with Subtlety, for example. Let's go with First Dance and Inevitability. And you can have a shoulder piece with First Dance and Inevitability, and a headpiece with First Dance and Inevitability. So you still get your triple stack First Dance, you get a triple stack Inevitability, but you can't have like First Dance here and First Dance here. You know what I mean? So in a sense, it can give you a lot more customization. Taking a look at Jaina's set right here. So let's say you're trying to figure out what is going to be the best setup. Let's say you like to do Mythic Pluses. In Mythic Pluses, you want to do a little bit of single target damage, but also a little bit of AoE. So you're trying to make sure this chest piece is good for single target as well as AoE depending on the fight. As a Subtlety Rogue, or let's say Assassination Rogue, Sand of Blood looks pretty good because you can have multiple ruptures and multiple enemies. If you were making a raid set, Nothing Personal for pure single target damage could be really nice. But if you're doing Mythic Pluses, Sand of Blood, you might believe that might be the better option since you put multiple ruptures and multiple enemies, more agility, especially when you're dealing with trash packs, but it also works for single target as well. So you pick that one for Mythic Pluses because it works there. I was really trying to find another bonus just to give you guys a better example, but some of the traits we have, well, that's really pretty good. So you have Sand of Blood and you have Echoing Blades, and you also have the middle ground, you have Twisted Knife. So you could take for your shoulder piece Echoing Blades for the AoE, so it's a Phantom Knives crit, spray extra Phantom Knives around, which is great for packs, but you can also go Twist the Knife for single target, pure single target, or even the middle ground one with like bonded souls. So you could have a Mythic Plus build by doing pure AoE. However, if you wanted to make a pure single target for raids, you would go with Sand of Blood and Twist the Knife, and you can customize, I guess, a little bit extra towards your build. There's a lot more, and I feel like it's probably the weirdest way to try to fix the Azerite debacle, and the fact that the Azerite system doesn't give you nearly as much customization as Blizzard kind of sold it as. Giving you two traits to pick from between like single target or AoE or whatever it is, and still having a spec specific or non-spec specific does give you a lot more options. It gives you a lot more variety, and in some cases can make a lot more depth towards your character, allow you to build a little bit better. Let's say I'm an Outlaw main because I play Outlaw all the time. I have a choice of Storm of Steel versus Paradise Lost. Paradise Lost as a trait is not that great, so of course I'm going to end up taking Storm of Steel, so that'll be at the top. Then I have Ace Up Your Sleeve. That seems really good. I can also read up on Seductive Power. Let's say it's not that good, so I go for Ace Up. So now I have both Storm of Steel and Ace Up Your Sleeve. Is my playstyle going to be all that different? I have now a passive trait, and one that actually does change my gameplay a little bit. But that's about all it does. I feel like Blizzard have taken a step in an interesting direction, but I won't necessarily say right direction. I feel like this change to the Azerite traits is going to give you more passive traits that don't really affect your gameplay. I mean, of course, I could go with Paradise Lost, but it doesn't seem nearly as good, so if I want to actually increase my damage, I'll probably end up taking the one that does increase my damage. I mean, I guess for each spec it could be a little bit different, but let's say you're Assassination, right? You would pick Twist the Knife, because single target, Shrouded Suffocation, and now what? Your rotation with a Subtlety or Assassination would be a little bit different because of the Subterfuge and Vendetta, but that's really about it. It doesn't actually add anything more complex. When you're playing Subtlety, you'll have access to First Dance and a passive for Inevitability. So I guess First Dance has some playstyle to it because it's actually pretty new, but you know, this is still pretty passive. It doesn't actually do anything. So I feel like they changed it up so you can have more options, so you can customize your build. Do you want to have a piece of gear that's both good for AoE and single target, or do you just want to have one that's purely for like single target completely, right? Let's say you are, oh, I don't even know because I'm looking at these sets first time. Let's say you are Assassination main, double dose, Bonded Souls. You're gonna go for Earthlink and then maybe Lion Weight. That's gonna be pure single target, or you can go for Shrouded Suffocation for M pluses. Maybe even Sen of Blood, so now both of those combo in M pluses really well and can be pretty good for single target situations or cleave situations. So I guess now you can have more customization. A piece of gear can be more versatile, so it doesn't feel nearly as bad to get, like, you know, certain traits or certain whatever. I don't know, does this really solve the issue of Azerite traits? This works, I feel like, if you had a lot more Azerite traits to pick from, and a lot more interesting Azerite traits. So I like what Blizzard has done, and it's almost like step 1, complete. But where's going to be step 2? Are they going to take a lot of the Azerite traits that are simply not that enjoyable, or simply traits that don't really do anything? You know, don't actually change your gameplay all that much. Don't make you think and try to change your playstyle. Like, for example, Double Dose. You just apply it and that's it. You don't try to change your gameplay. Deadshot kind of lets you change your gameplay. You have to get it between the eyes to get a pistol shot. So if you're running Ace Up Your Sleeve and Deadshot together, you can, you know, get full combo point. Between the eyes is on cooldown and Deadshot to follow. But if it's just Deadshot, you can use between the eyes on like one combo point, as long as you have a Deadshot available. You know, little things like that. Brigand's Blitz is just a hit passive. Replicating Shadows is a passive. Inevitability is very passive. Scent of Blood is very passive, but does tell you that maybe you should put Ruptures on more than one person if possible, which you should be doing anyway, so I guess that one is mute. It's just a lot of them are kind of mute. They've done some good ideas in terms of like some of the newer traits that they've been recently able to add, and I actually should have them not in here, but I guess this guy would have them. Some of the cool new traits, but a lot of them are kind of boring. Nothing Personal is just a passive. Replicating Shadows is kind of passive. Brigand's Blitz didn't even change that at all. Echoing Blades is also very passive. When we have one for Subtlety where they changed it, and that's going to be First Dance. Also, this one actually changes the gameplay a little bit. On Shadow Dances, you get 2 common points, so it kind of makes you think, okay, well, I have so many common points, and I can adjust my playstyle, and I can change these things. And the haste, I guess, is nice, but you would only run like one trait of that. I don't know. Do you guys think that this is enough? Because off the bat, I'm thinking this is cool in terms of like more options. It's going to be great because let's say you get a piece of gear and it doesn't have the best traits in the world. Let's say you end up getting a random piece of gear and let's say it's going to be King Rastakhan. You get the shoulders. And let's say you're Subtlety Rogue main. And you say, oh man, I got Pref Rate, but I guess I can, you know, go with First Dance. And do they don't even have, oh, there we go. It didn't load for a second. Let's say you're like, man, I got Knight's Vengeance. It's not that good. I can't quite use it all that often, but hey, at least I have First Dance. At least that might be good, you know? So it's almost like, hey, here's a consolation prize. So it makes this shoulder piece a lot less worse. Or let's try this again, but let's do it with Champion of the Light. Let's say you are a Subtlety Rogue main. You're like, wow, awesome, I got Shrouded Suffocation. But you also got Nothing Personal, which let's say is not that good. It's limited in usefulness. And maybe you got Treacherous Covenant. I don't know how good Treacherous Covenant will be. Let's imagine it will sim pretty low. Let's imagine it just sims pretty badly, pretty poorly. So you're like, yes, I got Stratification. I guess I got Nothing Personal. At least you got one decent trait, is what I guess what I'm trying to say. So it doesn't change the gameplay to, and I guess the aspects of Azerite traits where you are getting to customize your build. It's more like, at least I have one decent trait, so the other ones don't make you feel nearly as bad. At least that's kind of what I'm getting out of this new system. But then again, I could be completely wrong, and maybe Blizzard will come up with a lot of changes for a lot of these traits, and I'll be happy if they do. Currently as it is, I like where they're heading, but I think more needs to be done to finalize it. I don't know if they'll have enough time by December 11th, which is when we know the patch is coming out for 8.1. It's, I mean, there's a couple of weeks, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or by 5th, I guess. So it's about a month left, so I don't know if they can really come up with more new ideas. I really do hope they do. Anyway, let me know your thoughts, guys, in the comments. What are you thinking of the new change to the Azerite traits? I just want to clue you guys in. I got a lot more stuff to cover on the channel. There's definitely a lot more stuff for me to take a look at. I just really wanted to get this video out because I was super excited about the Azerite changes. I won't say I'm disappointed completely. I'm actually kind of happy that Blizzard is making the change because at least this gives us a little bit more variety, more options. At least it could be, I mean, at least from an Outlaw perspective, you know, let's just think of something fun, right? Let's just think of, hey, what we've got a headpiece, we can have Snake Eyes, although Snake Eyes to get a nerf, so that's not a good example. We could say we got Storm of Steel and Deadshot. That's not bad. That's really not bad with the traits, or maybe Bonded Souls might be better, but you don't know. So having 2 of those is a damage increase, basically no matter what kind of build you run. So I think that'd be cool. And maybe if you can get like picture perfect traits that are going to be the best for your build, you know, also with them being mythic, for example, it might end up being like the biggest number increases possible. And I think it could be interesting. It could come up with some builds with like triple stacking 2 traits, but I feel like when people are gonna start triple stacking certain traits with this new system, Blizzard just might end up nerfing those triple stack talents and traits anyway. So it has potential to kind of like backfire on itself, and you have a potential to make some OP build, and Blizzard is probably gonna curb it, like they've done with every other build. So this is why I think they need to make more interesting traits. They should even discourage people from maybe being able to stack multiple traits together, right? So they're less likely, or there's less of an effect when you stack them, but that one effect can actually change your gameplay, even by a little or by a lot, anything. We don't really ask for much. Again, I'm gonna wrap it up now. Thank you for watching. Let me know your thoughts. I'll see all of you guys in another video.